The city lights blurred through Amara's rain-streaked window, their usual sparkle now muted and distant, as if the world outside was slowly slipping away from her grasp. Each droplet on the glass seemed to echo the uncertainty she felt inside, blurring the familiar outlines of the city she once called home. From her small apartment, the cityscape had always been a source of comfort, a living, breathing backdrop to her daily life, filled with memories of laughter, late-night walks, and the gentle hum of distant traffic. But now the city felt like a stranger, its lights cold and unwelcoming. Tonight it felt like a cage, the walls of her apartment closing in, the city's vastness suddenly suffocating. The comfort she once found in its endless possibilities had vanished, replaced by a sense of isolation she couldn't explain. A cold knot of unease tightened in her stomach, growing heavier with every passing minute. She tried to steady her breathing, but the anxiety only seemed to deepen, making her feel small and powerless. Something had shifted, both inside her and in the world around her. The city's familiar rhythm was offbeat, as if an invisible hand had nudged everything slightly out of place. The air vibrated with a hidden energy, a silent alarm that set her on edge. Every sound seemed amplified, the ticking of the clock, the distant sirens, the hum of the refrigerator, each one a reminder that something was not right. Amara paced her apartment, unable to shake the feeling of being watched. Shadows seemed to flicker in the corners of her vision, and she found herself glancing over her shoulder, searching for a presence she couldn't see. The familiar objects in her apartment now seemed sinister, their shadows whispering secrets she couldn't quite hear. Even the soft glow of her reading lamp felt harsh and unnatural, casting long, twisted shapes across the walls. The news played on a loop in the background, but none of it seemed real. The voices on the screen sounded distant, their words blurring together, unable to pierce the fog of her thoughts. It was as if a veil had been lifted, revealing a reality she had never noticed before, a world layered with secrets and hidden meanings just out of reach. Her gaze fell on a worn, leather-bound journal, a family heirloom that had always brought her comfort. Its presence now felt almost prophetic, as if it held answers to questions she hadn't yet asked. As she opened its pages, a wave of dizziness washed over her, and the world outside her window seemed to dissolve into a swirl of colors and shadows. In that moment, Amara realized her journey was only just beginning, and the city she thought she knew was about to reveal its true face. The journal pulsed with energy in her hands. The words on the parchment, written in a shifting language, suddenly made sense. It was the language of her ancestors, speaking of ancient powers and a lineage she never knew. As she read, a tingling sensation surged through her, electrifying her being. Fear gave way to awe as she felt the emotions of others, their joys and sorrows washing over her. Then a voice echoed in her mind. Anya, her great-grandmother, the last in their lineage to wield this power. Anya's spirit had been trapped within the journal, waiting for the chosen one to awaken. She spoke of a hidden network of resistance fighters, preserving truth and freedom in a world teetering on the brink. The weight of this revelation settled heavily on Amara's shoulders. It was as if the world she thought she knew had suddenly shifted beneath her feet, leaving her unsteady and uncertain. The air around her felt thick, every sound muffled by the enormity of what she had discovered. She sat in silence, her mind racing, trying to process the truth that had been hidden in plain sight for so long. She couldn't ignore the desperate plea in Anya's voice. It echoed with a raw vulnerability, a silent cry for help that only Amara seemed able to hear. Anya's words lingered in the air, heavy with fear and hope, as if she too sensed the invisible chains binding everyone around them. People were being controlled, their lives twisted to serve a dark purpose. They moved through the city like shadows, their faces empty, their eyes devoid of light. It was as if their spirits had been quietly stolen, leaving only hollow shells behind. And she, Amara, was at the center of it all. The realization was overwhelming. She felt exposed, as if a spotlight had been cast upon her while the rest of the world remained shrouded in darkness. The responsibility pressed down on her, both terrifying and inescapable. Amara tried to tell her friends and family about the journal and the truth she'd uncovered. She showed them the pages, her voice trembling with urgency, hoping they would see what she saw, hoping they would understand the danger lurking beneath their everyday lives. Every attempt was met with dismissive laughter and concerned frowns. Some thought she was joking, Others worried she was losing touch with reality. Their reactions stung, deepening her sense of isolation. They urged her to rest, to see a doctor. Their voices were gentle but firm, as if they believed exhaustion or stress had clouded her mind. No one wanted to believe that something sinister could be at work. The more she tried to explain, the more distant they became. Walls of doubt and fear rose between them, and Amara felt herself slipping further away from the people she loved. Her best friend Maya looked at her with pity and fear. The trust they once shared was now clouded by uncertainty, and Amara could see the worry etched into Maya's face. Amara felt a cold realization grip her heart. What if their minds were being manipulated? What if the people she cared about most were no longer truly themselves, but puppets in a sinister game? Beneath their concern, she sensed a chilling emptiness, as if they were puppets, their strings pulled by an unseen hand. The world around her seemed blind to its chains, and Amara realized she might be the only one left who could see the truth, and the only one who could fight back. Desperate for answers, Amara turned to the chaotic world of the internet. The glow of her laptop was the only light in her room as she dove into the endless digital sea, hoping to find even a single thread of truth. Every click, every search, felt like a step deeper into a maze where reality and fiction blurred together. She scoured forums and obscure websites, searching for any mention of the shadowy force Anya described. The more she read, the more she realized how much was hidden beneath the surface. Layers of secrets, rumors, and warnings that most people would never see. Her search led her down a rabbit hole of conspiracy theories and cryptic blog posts. Some were wild and unbelievable, but others felt disturbingly plausible, echoing the fears that had been growing inside her since Anya's warning. Then, after hours of digging, she stumbled upon a hidden forum dedicated to exposing the controllers, a name whispered in the darkest corners of the web. Its members claimed inside knowledge of a powerful organization manipulating world events. They spoke in riddles, but their warnings were clear. Nothing in the world was as it seemed. They spoke of mind control, propaganda, and a plan to create a world of unquestioning obedience. The posts described subtle ways people were influenced, and how dissenters simply vanished without a trace. Amara dismissed it at first, until she found a post about unexplained disappearances, all linked to people who had questioned a powerful multinational corporation. The evidence was chilling. Names, dates, and stories that matched real news reports she remembered seeing. The corporation's CEO, a charismatic billionaire, was rumored to be involved in shady dealings. His public image was spotless, but the forum painted a much darker picture, one of manipulation, secrets, and fear. Amara's blood ran cold as she saw the missing faces on her screen. Each photo was a stark reminder of the risks people took when they searched for the truth. And then, her heart skipped a beat. One of them was Maya's older brother, David. Suddenly, the conspiracy wasn't just a story on a screen. It was real, and it was terrifyingly close to home.